So I don't want to get ahead of myself, and this video is not medical advice. It's just my experience and my knowledge. It's for entertainment and education. But I've made a video before. I've made lots of videos talking about why a lot of doctors aren't very intelligent, and they really don't know anything about the human body. Now, it's hard for some people to comprehend because they go, well, doctors went to school for that many years. How can they not know about the human body? Annoying car alarm going off now. But yeah, they don't know very much about the human body because there's all this much to learn, and they learn like a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, and they think they know all of this when the reality is they only know little tiny bits and pieces. And then you may go, well, they go into medical practice and they learn from experience. Well, the problem is they only learn from experience with those little tiny bits and pieces, doing things the way that they are allowed to do things and the only ways they know to do things. So they're not trying out a whole bunch of different things and learning new information. It's like they have option A, B, and C, and they learned about option A, B, and C in school, and now in practice they're learning more about option A, B, and C. And they don't know about option D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. So why I'm saying this is because, contrary to what surgeons and other doctors and other medical people will tell you, you can in fact heal a hernia without surgery. You can heal inguinal hernias, you can heal all hernias without surgery. Now, I'm not saying you can always heal them 100% of the time without surgery. I'm just saying that pretty much all hernias, unless it's a massive hernia, can be healed without surgery. So don't take my words out of context. I'm not saying that 100% of the time you will be able to, but that small hernias, now small depends on you, depends on your organism, depends on your healing capabilities, but most small hernias are going to be able to heal without surgery. Whereas almost any other doctor, because I mean, I will have my medical license eventually, and then I will be a dreaded doctor. Then I might actually lose some people's respect. It's crazy, but I know there will be people out there who actually listen to me less once I have a medical license. But don't forget that I am not like the rest. But yeah, all these other people with medical license will tell you that, oh, the herniation can go back through the hole, but you will never heal, and it will just keep going back. How does that even make sense? Do you not know anything about the human body? It just leaves holes? Like, say you have an umbilical, let's just say you have some random abdominal hernia. It's going through a lot of layers of tissue, and those tissues don't just leave holes. It's like saying that you're gonna take a screwdriver and poke a hole in your arm, and it's just gonna stay like that forever. That, you know, it might not bother you, but you're always gonna have that hole in your arm. Yeah, you don't just keep holes in your tissues. Yeah. All the different layers of tissue, from peritoneum to fascia to muscle to fat to skin, they all close holes. Which means if you have a hole and something's going through it, and you get that something to go back through it, that hole is going to be closing up. Now, why might it not close up? Well, if that thing like it starts to close up and then it tears back through and opens it up some more, and then it comes back and it starts to close, but then again, that's going to interfere with the healing process. So I think you get the point. The body heals. If there's not something preventing that hole from closing, it's going to close. Usually. There's always exceptions. It depends on the size. And it's amazing how, physics is forgotten in medicine. As I've told my wife, you must understand physics to understand medicine. It's extremely, extremely simple physics. But it has to do with the rates. The reason a larger hole is less likely to close than a smaller hole is because there is a greater chance that in the amount of time it takes for that larger hole to close, that something is going to interrupt the healing process. That holds true for all injuries throughout the human body. Now, there's other reasons why larger injuries, more complex injuries, oftentimes are harder to heal. But one very big one is the physics of that rate, whatever you want to call it, that it's bigger, so it takes more time, and there is a higher probability that something will interfere with or completely stop the healing process. Now you may be going, well, this is all fine and dandy, but you don't know what you're talking about. That's just your theory. No, it's not. I've seen this time and time again with myself, with other people, and the reason I'm bringing you this video right now is so I don't forget. Now, like I said in the beginning, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but my hernia is almost completely healed now. I just figure by the time it's completely healed, I won't be thinking about it, and then I won't remember to give you the video. But back at the end of May, I got a hiatal hernia. It was not fun. Took me a little while, and I really do mean a little while, to realize it was something that I had before. Because I had a hiatal hernia or some other kind of hernia, I don't know, when I was 18, 19, I don't remember exactly how old. I went to doctors, I did all the scans. One of the doctors was like, well, you can just leave it and it will slip back in sometimes and it will slip back out sometimes. And, you know, if it doesn't bother you too much, no reason to do surgery. Good surgeon, because he didn't just say, oh, you need to do surgery. It's never going to get better without surgery. So I did not get surgery, and it healed eventually. Just like now, it's also healing again. Just like other people who get these hernias heal. You know, there's an abundance of people who get hernias and they heal. And you still have medical doctors who will tell you, who will tell me, who will tell them that no, they don't heal. It's just that the herniation went back through the hole, but the hole is still there because your body doesn't know how to fix holes. You know, it doesn't get holes every single day. You bite your tongue, it makes a little hole, it heals. You bite your lip, it makes a little hole, it heals. You put your arm down on a spike, it goes through it, it heals. Your body heals. It doesn't just leave open holes. Hernias aren't the exception. Hernias don't have magical ability to prevent your body from healing holes. So yeah, it's not just that it slipped back through, because if you have a hernia, which you might, you know the difference between when it's just slipped back through for a bit and it slips back out. Like, it feels good, but then, you know, within a short amount of time, maybe an hour, maybe a day, maybe 2 days, maybe a week, it slips back through. And now you could probably tell there's a certain frequency that is slipping in and out. If that all of a sudden stops, it's a pretty strong suggestion that that hole healed. If it doesn't slip back through for a decade, and when the hole's there, it slips back through every day, that's a pretty strong suggestion. Now, you could always back it up with medical imaging, and you can, that the hole is no longer there, because it's not. The human body doesn't just leave holes open. You know, it can in rare situations, but for the most part, normal human bodies close holes. So yeah, luckily my hernia is almost completely healed. I can lay on my back now. I still am not lying on my back very much because, like I talked about, the physics and the mechanics of the healing process is you want to give it uninterrupted healing as much as possible. If I were to lay on my back, even though it's mostly good, and that hole is pretty small now, and the stuff is not passing through it, it's still going to be straining it, maybe tearing it a little bit, and it's going to decrease the likelihood that it fully heals. It's certainly going to increase the time it takes, but you never know. It could even go in the opposite direction and open back up and go back to square one. This is the kind of mechanics I've talked about in one of my books. Now, I only have one book for right now. Well, actually, kind of almost have 2 books, but have one book about how to cure tendinitis, whether you have it in your elbow, you got it in your knee, your shoulder, it doesn't matter. But these kind of physics and mechanics apply to the whole human body. So yes, you can heal a hernia without surgery. You just need to make sure that it's not blocking that hole. You need the hole to be free to heal. And then you must give it time to heal. It's not complicated. But of course, if you have a massive hernia, or if the hernia gets strangulated, that's an emergency. You must get emergency surgery. If it's just a little hernia, you don't need surgery. It's like, if you got a little hernia in your abdomen somewhere, what you do is you take, well, not medical advice, but what you can do, medical information. So you take your finger and you see a bulge somewhere and you push on it and you push it back in. Then you stay in whatever position doesn't make it come back out. And when it comes back out, you push it back in. And you make sure to have good diet that supports healing. And you don't do stupid activities that will tear the hole and make it even bigger. It's not rocket science, yet you will still have the majority of people with medical licenses, I hate to call them doctors, tell you that this is impossible. It's possible. I've done it twice. Other people have done it. You can look on YouTube and find a bunch of people that have done it. Oh, I forgot. One more tip that helps. You want your, if it's a hiatal hernia, you want your stomach to be heavy, because a hiatal hernia means it's coming up. So you want something to pull it down. So you want to load it with the heaviest things possible. Mercury would be nice and heavy, but it's toxic. So water is your best bet. You can also load it full of beer, but beer is foamy, the gas, there's a little portion of the stomach poking above the diaphragm, the gas can expand it and start tearing the hole. So you want to stay away from beer. You can fill it full of wine, you can fill it full of whatever. Stay away from carbonated beverages. Not medical advice. You can stay away from carbonated beverages. It's a good idea. It's not advice, it's a good idea. And it's a good idea to fill it full of non-carbonated liquids, because liquid is typically going to be heavier than your food, unless you're eating lead, which you shouldn't be. Water has a much higher density than almost any food you're going to eat. So yes, fill your stomach full of water. You can do some bouncing up and down. You can do some jumping and slamming on the floor. You know, it's about mechanics. You just need that weight there. You need that push. It's kind of like when you're getting the key into a lock. Sometimes you got to jiggle it. It's just like your stomach. If part of it is through a hole and you need it to go back through that hole, even if you load it up with the weight and it's pushing on it, you got to give it a little jiggle sometimes. You might look ridiculous, but it's going to provide that jiggle it needs to slip back through the hole. So I hope you like this video. I'm glad I can bring a video, because for a while I was thinking, you know, what can I make videos on? I want to keep making videos, but I don't like to just make random videos that aren't any good. I think this is a good video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Give it a like, give me a subscribe. Check out my Instagram, Andre Hutch, ANDREYHUTCH. And you can hire me for training, advice, consultations, plans, whatever. Same thing with diet, same thing with supplements, same thing with special supplements, same thing with harm mitigation for those special supplements or for anything. The only one thing you cannot hire me for is medical advice, because I don't currently have a medical license. But you can hire me for medical information, medical humor, medical entertainment, whatever it may be, as long as it's not medical advice.